Do you wish that all things wealth and finance were much easier to understand and not presented by a bunch of beige cardigan-wearing geeks? Welcome to the Clever Investor Podcast, where we're dishing up the easiest to understand finance program served in bite-sized chunks, so your brain will thank you as your knowledge grows. Hosted by the brilliant Owen Taylor, a multiple award-winning expert with a glorious knack for explaining the complex world of wealth in the simplest of ways.
Hey Clever Investors, and welcome to another show. As I've recorded this, New South Wales is being battered yet again with more horrendous rainstorms, and floodwaters are still rising overnight, and people have already lost their properties and businesses, and others have been completely displaced. If you're one of those people or it's a member of your family, then our heart goes out to you, absolutely. I had another show all edited and ready to go, but we put our heads together today and thought it might be better if we actually talked about disaster relief packages that are available to us to try and help us get through the interim. It's certainly not going to fix everything, but it does show that there are some humans out there in banking land. Obviously, there's some legislation behind this, but they do want to work with you. I'm going to give you some of the basics that the majors are actually offering. I certainly can't cover every single lender that's out there, so I thought I would just pick on what the majors are doing. What you will need to do if you are affected or a member of your family is affected is obviously you need to contact your bank, your lender, if you have finance, and especially if you have business dealings with them. Contact them as soon as you can. They will all have a special team on for actually dealing with you. So mention as soon as you get on the phone to them what your situation is. All the banks, all the lenders, all the building societies and credit unions actually do want to work with people. From a practical point of view, they don't really want to lose customers, if we're being a little bit cold-hearted about it. They would rather people recover and get back onto their feet so they retain you as a customer. But also, there are humans. There are very much other Australians that are working for and in and making the decisions in these banks too. But they do have businesses to run. And sometimes they're going to have to make some big business decisions on things. So what you need to do is get in contact with them as soon as possible. Now, a lot of them are immediately offering suspension of payment of facilities for a given period of time. You will need to contact them though. Don't just take this as my word, but let me take you through what some of the majors are basically offering. ANZ has come out and said that they're going to give some short-term payment relief on home loans, credit cards, and any personal loans and business loans that you've got. However, there is going to be a period of time for that. So you'll need to ring with your own personal situation. They're going to waive the fees. ANZ said they're going to waive the fees for any restructuring of any of these business loans, and they're going to waive the fees for anybody that's accessing their term deposits early, which is a really cool thing. If your home insurance is with ANZ as well, then there's some emergency assistance of funds that can be applicable to you. Again, you need to get in contact with the bank and sort out your own individual situation there. Now, CBA have said that they're going to customise some payment arrangements on home loans, credit cards, personal loans, and some of the business facilities. They're looking at waiving fees and charges and temporary overdrafts and any additional loans or emergency credit limit increases, right, to help you get through this. They too will be waiving fees and notice periods for term deposits. So that's you sort of helping yourself. That's very good at the bank as well. They're also, if you've got business facilities, they're going to be looking at lifting any fees around merchant fees. National Australia Bank is also offering some loan deferrals and reductions of repayments. So I'd encourage you, if you can still make repayments, to do that, because in the background, the interest bill is still going to be accumulating. They too have said that they're going to be looking at waiving any fees and refunding any fees and charges such as merchant fees. And so get on the phone to them as soon as possible. Now, Westpac and the St. George Group have got an emergency support which is looking at up to 3 months repayment deferrals for mortgages and some business loan customers. Lumped in with that as well is some up to 90-day repayment deferrals for credit card customers. Like the other majors as well, they're going fee-free for any loan restructuring that you need to do on business loans, and some discounted interest rates and waiving of fees on personal loans for affected customers who have got to go and buy replacement goods that have been damaged and destroyed as a result of the bad weather. If there does reach a situation, not just now, but maybe later moving down the track, and you think you're being hard done by your bank, you are protected under the Australian Banking Code of Practice, and you certainly can reach out for further assistance with this. Again, I'll put some links onto the socials. You are still going to be required to make some repayments at some point into the future. Now, obviously, I'm talking very, very broadly here, but be prepared that there is all of these offers from any of the banks, any of the institutions have got an end date to them. So what you don't want to do is start to leave these things until the last minute. And I know you're going to have plenty of other things. So reach out, get support from your friends. Back in February, the New South Wales government offered a disaster recovery allowance. So if you'd lost your income as a result of the floods, there was a payment that you could get, and it was there were certain postcodes that actually were eligible for this. I think it was close to like over 100 postcodes that you'd be in. It was all the major affected areas. I'm pretty sure that the same type of thing is going to have to be offered again now. So you can jump on to the Service New South Wales website, and again, I'll put the link in it so it's easy for you to find here. You may be eligible for some financial assistance to do with sort of replacing your income to help you get through this situation. Earlier in the year, we saw the disaster recovery payments. So that was $1,000 per adult and $400 per child if your home had been severely damaged or destroyed as a result of the rainstorms and the floodings. You will need to contact Service New South Wales, and they will then take you through how to actually get that payment to you and make sure that you're eligible for it. So I'll put a link onto the socials so you can easily click on it, or you can just jump on to the servicenewsouthwales.gov.au.
Now it's time for a little word from today's podcast sponsor.
Have you been thinking for far too long about how to become a property investor? For most people, fear absolutely paralyzes them. Wait no more. Great starting point is to come along to this webinar that I run, The Principles of Property Investment. The idea of this is to give you a game plan on how you can start and the fundamentals of it. The Principles of Property Investment is the perfect starting point. Don't be full of fear. Knowledge is power. The links are going to be on the social media, or go to bluewealth.com.au, look under the events tab and book yourself in. Now, in times of stress as well, you're going to need to get things off your chest, and there will be professionals out there that are willing to help you as well. So don't be scared. No matter who you are, no matter how tough you are, I am a firm believer in talking to a professional, not just your friends, because sometimes we can burden our friends because they might be going through the same stuff. But there will be plenty of professionals that are out there to actually help you and talk you through this. And you know what? You've got through all of the other terrible things and disasters in your life. Here's just another one. You will get through this. Now, there is a free service which is available to all us lovely Australians as regards financial counselling. So if you've got yourself into a bit of a pickle, or you think you might be, or you're worried about how you're going to get through this, there is free and confidential financial counselling which is available to all of us. The National Debt Helpline has financial counsellors available to help you through this. And as I've said many, many times before, you're not meant to know the answers to absolutely everything. There are very few people in the world that know absolutely everything and don't need to reach out for help. And in the cases of trying to sort out how you're going to get yourself back onto your feet financially while you're trying to sort out absolutely everything else, you can reach out, and there are people to very much assist you through all of this. Now, even if you've had a total loss of your property or it's damaged and you can't move back into it, you still do actually have rights, and dealing with all of this debt is going to be quite stressful. But there is good news, and there is a certain amount of protection that we have as consumers within Australia. And there's financial hardship clauses that are by legislation and as part of the banking codes of practices that do exist. Now, this doesn't cover things like, well, I've lost all of my money down at the casino and blown the whole lot there. It's meant to be for people that are absolutely, genuinely gone through what so many of you have just gone through in the last week. Now, the Australian consumer law states that you've got to be treated in a fair and reasonable way when you owe money and when someone's trying to collect on that money. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the onus is on you as soon as practically possible is to pick up the phone, get in contact with the people that you owe money to, and let them know as soon as possible what's actually happened to you and what you're going through. And then you can start to work with them on what you can do into the short time. Now, again, the onus is still going to be back on you to keep them updated with what your situation is and keep your part of the bargain. You're not allowed to be harassed, and you're not allowed to have to make unreasonable payment arrangements for yourself. Try, if you can, when you're talking to them, to what you've talked about, get them to email it through to you so you've got that in writing, or get the email address of the person or someone that you can summarize the phone call that you've had. A lot of them, the phone call will be recorded, but make sure that you still put down the points the way that you understood it. I understand that, I'm not going to have to make my repayments for X amount of time, and then after that time, we will renegotiate, Put it in writing back to them. So you've just got something there. It's also going to help you later on when you can reference back to it. Oh, we agreed on this. I've got to do that. It's all about having open and honest communications across the two of it. And as I mentioned before, don't forget there's humans, there's other Australians that are actually working in these organisations. Now, don't be scared as well to reach out and get some financial counselling. Now, financial counselling is different to financial planning, as what we spoke about with Scott Taylor a few episodes ago. Financial counselling here is to help you manage your debts and try and get your finances back under some kind of control. Now, the National Debt Helpline has trained financial counsellors. It's a no-cost service, and it's a not-for-profit organisation too. So in summary here, if you're affected at any point with any natural disaster, storms, rain, bushfires, you need to contact whoever you owe money to as soon as possible, as soon as practically possible. Let them know what your situation is. You may have lost lots of paperwork. Your regular phone may be damaged as well. So you're ringing them from a stranger's number. You haven't got your passcode. Tell them what's happened. They're going to make the appropriate notes on your file, and then a plan of action can be created from it. Don't be scared to reach out and get some financial counselling as soon as possible. You're not meant to know the answers to everything that's going on. You will get through this. Don't panic. And our thoughts are very much with you. Thank you for tuning in. I hope what I've talked about today has helped someone, given someone a bit of confidence. You'll get through it. You will rebuild. And thanks again for listening to the Clever Investor Podcast.
You have been listening to the Clever Investor Podcast, proudly sponsored this week by Blue Wealth Property. Are you ready to start a new investment journey? Get in touch with the industry leaders, Blue Wealth Property. Blue Wealth have a proven track record in using research to identify growth markets, and Blue Wealth have supported thousands of Australians to buy the right property in the right market at the right time. Go to bluewealth.com.au.